Girls is about four women in their early 20s, trying to find out who they are, what they want and how to get it while living in New York, but any comparison to the older HBO series Sex and the City is wide of the mark in numerous ways, where that series had a high sheen to it, and was all about finding men, and shoes and happiness, and the four variations on a feminine theme came together all too neatly for lunch and chat sessions. Girls is a much more low-fi, rooted in realism affair, and it mines the honesty of its characters in such a way that it produces both robust comedy and genuine, emotionally dramatic moments that is in no way meant to dismiss Sex and the City, but the two are shows so vastly different they don't really reside in the same creative solar system, and there are bound to be similarly inadequate comparisons to the CBS sitcom Two Broke Girls, which tries to flaunt its female characters' constant use of vagina as somehow cutting edge, but its portrayal of young women in the big city is a glossy, superficial affair that screams "look how wild we are," while Girls is more authentically scrubby and monochromatic, since so few people actually saw tiny furniture. Dunham is going to be a very new discovery. Like Louis C.K., Dunham has created a series that is 100% her vision. Like Louis, Girls is shot through with the unmistakable DNA of its creator, and it's impossible to overstate the brilliance of the artistic vision at hand here. In the first 3 half-hour episodes, Dunham manages to convey real female friendships, the angst of emerging adulthood, nuanced relationships, sexuality, self-esteem, body image, intimacy in a tech-savvy world that promotes distance, the bloodlust of surviving New York on very little money, and the modern parenting of entitled children, among many other things, all laced together with humor and poignancy. Dunham is fearless in this role. Not only does she drive much of the comedy, and Girls is primarily a comedy, but she's stark naked both emotionally and physically. As we meet Dunham's character Hannah in the pilot having dinner with her parents, who are about to cut off the cash flow of the last 2 post-college years, she seems spoiled and entitled, but she quickly becomes sympathetically overwhelmed with how to succeed in New York and in life. She's got a loser boyfriend who essentially uses her for sex. Hannah has weight issues, which she approaches with a complex duality, accepting them half the time, haunted by them the other. What separates Girls from so many other comedies is that it's aggressively rooted in naturalism. With all of its vulnerability and uncertainty and fleeting moments of being assuredly in control, the conversations are frank, the sex is awkward and sometimes embarrassing. Being adrift is part of being alive to these characters, the confusion of what to make of yourself or even how to go about it. The comedy comes from those situations. Girls also benefits greatly from casting so dead right that it makes you want to applaud. In many ways, each half-hour episode of Girls is like a small movie, and that takes performances from actors who inherently understand the mood and the tone to a science. You could make the argument that there are breakout performances galore in Girls. Allison Williams is excellent as Marnie, Hannah's closest friend. She's beautiful and grounded, has a doting boyfriend and a secure job, but instead of being the broadcast television version of a friend, who's more of a nemesis or a shallow depiction of someone you're actually close to, Marnie is a true friend who knows Hannah exceptionally well and is always there for her, in a nice twist. Marnie feels horrible for being sick of her overly doting boyfriend Charlie. Marnie is also protective of how much Hannah likes their friend Jessa, the flighty, globe-trotting Brit who is one of the few people Hannah thinks is actually fun. Jessa has a knack for reading Hannah completely wrong, and her hands-off approach is opposite the protective Marnie. Shoshana, who is Jessa's American cousin, is the most in a VE and ill-equipped of the friends. She's a virgin, wears girly pink a lot and talks in hyper-fast slang more reminiscent of high school and texting than someone ready to come of age. But here too, Girls takes the right approach and doesn't leave Shoshana as a caricature, allowing her fears, embarrassments and insecurities to leak through her shallow exterior to show vulnerability, not stupidity. Another bit of casting that really stands out is Adam Driver as Hannah's boyfriend Adam. It's a role that requires him to be a self-centered jerk without actually being malevolent about it. Driver needs to be as fearless as Dunham because he's also in those sex scenes and is called upon to act out porn fantasies without appearing super pervy about it. Driver takes what could be a cookie-cutter part and gives Adam nuance and even honesty, a difficult, impressive performance. And Alex Karpovsky is the perfect example of the excellent casting, and note perfect acting as Ray, a friend of Charlie's who is only in one episode so far but nails every moment of it. HBO has a real and rare gem in Girls. It's a comedy that earns its numerous laughs by mining these characters' lives for honesty instead of incessantly giving them witticisms to spout like a traditional network sitcom. Girls also deftly avoids the problem of a lot of Showtime's half-hour comedies by not being 80% dour drama. You could splice any number of scenes from Girls into a funny trailer, but once you see the whole package, you realize how intuitively and even brazenly the series explores the full emotive palette of its characters. Dunham has created a tour de force in Girls and in the process announced herself as one of the most unique talents on television.